Today I am introducing a new topic on mangroves, and the first episode is on its significance and current status. Mangroves are salt-tolerant plant communities found along the coastal of tropical and subtropical intertidal zones of the world. Such regions are characterized by high rainfall between 100 cm to 300 cm annually, and temperature ranging between 26 degrees centigrade to 35 degrees centigrade. Mangrove species belong to several families, and they have a similar morphological, anatomical and physiological adaptation to survive in waterlogged soil, high salinity and frequent cyclonic storms and tidal surges. And mangrove have been variously described as coastal woodland or sometimes intertidal forest, then coastal wetland, swamp. And if you see my previous video made on the types of wetland, there also I describe about this mangrove forest. Now, what is the current status globally? As per the Global Forest Resource Assessment 2020 by Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, world over 113 countries have mangrove forest covering an estimated of 14.8 million hectares. And if you see here the table, you can see that Asia contains is 38% of their mangrove cover, and then Africa, and then it is North and Central America, then South America and Oceania. So this is the present global scenario of mangrove coverage. Now, within this, more than 40% of total area of mangroves was reported just in 4 countries. So 40% of this 14.8 million hectares of mangrove cover, only 4 countries possess this 40% of total area of mangrove, and they are Indonesia 19%, Brazil 9%, Nigeria 7% and Mexico 6%. All information here is from Global Forest Resource Assessment 2020. Now, what is the current status of India? The Forest Survey of India has been assigning the mangrove cover using remote sensing since 1987, and the current 2021 assessment shows that India's mangrove cover is 4,992 square kilometer, that is 0.15% of the country's geographic area. So this is this 4,992 square kilometer is equals to 0.049 million hectare, that is, or we can say 0.05 million hectare. So, and if you look at the table here, you can see that the most of the forest, mangrove forest, is in West Bengal, and it is 42%. And then is Gujarat, that is 20% there. Then Andaman and Nicobar Islands, that is 12%. Then Andhra Pradesh, that is 8%. And then you say this is Maharashtra, that is 7%. And then Odisha, that is 5%. So this is our 12 states or union territories, that is, you can say the 9 states of India, that is Andhra Pradesh, Goa, Gujarat, Karnataka, Kerala, Maharashtra, Odisha, Tamil Nadu and West Bengal, and the union territories as Andaman and Nicobar Islands, Daman and Diu, Dadra and Nagar Haveli and Puducherry. So these states and union territory have the total mangrove cover of India. Now this is the significance of mangrove. Mangrove are one of the most productive ecosystems. They are important refuge of coastal biodiversity and also act as bioshield against extreme climatic events. Large population, primarily rural population, depends on mangrove ecosystem for their variety of biomass dependent livelihoods. If I jot down the information, jot down the significance of mangroves, then the first thing is mangrove can store potentially carbon of the from the atmosphere. Mangrove cover only about 0.1% of planet's surface, yet they can potentially store up to 10 times more carbon per hectare than terrestrial forest. As these salt-tolerant trees store most of the carbon in their soil and sediment, they can stay locked for a millennium if left undisturbed. So this is a very important thing for reducing or mitigating the global, the global temperature rise or climate change. Secondly, mangrove can protect coastal communities that we already discussed, that from their loss or damage of lives, livelihoods and properties, and from flood risk by acting as a natural barrier against storm surges. So we have discussed that the mangrove acts as bioshield against extreme climate events. Mangroves can perform multiple ecological functions such as production of wood trees, provision of habitat and food, and important nursery and breeding grounds for fish, provision of habitat for birds and other valuable fauna, and accretion of sediment to form new land. So we have discussed that it is the important refuge of coastal biodiversity. Mangrove ecosystem is dynamic, changing in both location and composition, and has great resilience with the ability to restore itself after heavy damage as long as seed source and water flow is maintained. This is a very good point of the significance of mangrove. Mangroves provide a variety of economic benefits, including a source of firewood, self-replenishing area of fishery resource, honey collection, and also tourism. So this comes under the livelihood of biomass dependent livelihood or livelihood based on the mangrove ecosystem. So mangroves are emerging as a key solution that I have already discussed to address the global warming and other adverse climate events like increased storm and cyclonic activity across the globe. This is one point. On the other hand, they attract potential carbon offset market which facilitates increasing trading of carbon credits. What is the major concern? Despite the benefit of mangroves offer, they are increasingly under threat and are getting degraded. Globally, the area of mangroves decreased by 1.04 million hectares between 1990 to 2020. That is, in this 30 years, the country, that is India, lost 40% of its mangrove cover during the last century. And according to a study under reference, that is, you can see the full thing in the reference page. The title of the study is Mangrove Forest Along a Coastline of Kerala, Southern India, Current Status and Future Prospects. That the study, according to this study, Kerala, for instance, lost 95% of its mangrove during the period 1975 to 2021, from 700 square kilometer to only 9 square kilometer. So the major concern, what is the reason of gradually decreasing the coverage of mangrove is one, biotic pressure. That is pressure from growing populations, which leads to changes in land use, and over-utilization of resource and natural calamities play a major role in negatively impacting mangrove ecosystem. Growing land reclamation of agriculture, industrialization along the coastlines, discharge of untreated domestic sewage, industrial effluents are damaging to this forest. And upstream activities relating to river draining and natural erosion and accretion also have an effect on the health of mangroves, since an adequate ecological flow in the river is essential for flashing of the mangroves of silt and other waste. So river draining means the process of constructing different structure along a river for the purpose of guiding and confining the river flow. So this, if the flow of the river is not proper, because it is essential for flashing the mangroves of silt and other waste. So these are the broad concern that I highlighted, and in our next video we also discuss about some of its current status and future prospects, and also the conservation efforts. The depletion of mangrove is a serious environmental and economic concern to many developing countries. Intensive conservation efforts are needed to ensure the survival of this ecosystem. So we also discussed in this series of mangroves that how can we conserve the mangrove forest. And for further reference, you can read this reference, you can read this report manual. Thank you for watching this video.